Hello, beautiful healing community. It's your girl, Selena, and this is another episode of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. So, today I am joined by another amazing guest, duh, right? But today his name is Chris, and Chris is someone who I met in the community, and we may or may not belong to the same art collective, so artist collective. Um, and we we have like a few things in common I found since we were chatting. And so I'm very excited to get into today. Today, we're going to be talking about healing through creativity. Okay. And as a creative, this is something that I know a lot about. I've always been someone who's healed through art, I've always been someone who's healed through the process. The journey is something that I always heal through. And if you've ever created art, whether that's a piece of art or some production or whatever it is, child, you know that you be going through it and there's a lot to heal from. And so I'm excited to talk to you about that today, Chris, and to hear more about your journey and the healing that you found in it. So, Chris, please introduce yourself to the people, let them know who you are and anything you would want them to know, to set the scene for this conversation we're about to have.
Okay. Well, my name is Chris Carthern. I am a writer, director, producer, TV, film, do music as well. One of the main projects I'm working on currently is called Captain Zero. The T-shirt here is black led animated teen superhero film. Mental health plays a huge, important part of the story, and it's something I try to incorporate into a lot of my art.
Hmm. Okay, say that. I mean, we definitely know that art imitates life, life imitates art. It's a beautiful back and forth, a beautiful balance, if you will. Let's get into this like concept of being a creative and how you approach your art. Why does mental health show up in your art? How do you connect, and relate to these to these characters you are creating? Excuse me.
For me, I think it's like a unique outlet uh, for expressing your emotions or your feelings. Sometimes you can't vocalize exactly what you're experiencing or going through, but there's something about being able to put it into your art and be able to show and people to like, oh, I can see what he's saying in this, or I can understand there's something deep meaning going on here, or this just when they're asking you about certain things, now you can actually find the words. This is why I did this. This is what I was thinking in this moment, and honestly, I just had this experience. As an artist, as a creative, I feel like showing your work sometimes can be just one of those things where you're just like, you're nervous. You don't know how someone's gonna perceive it or get what you're trying to do. Uh, Similarly, I think to like what Kendrick did to Super Bowl. Like there are gonna be people who, I thought what he did was dope, or I don't like it. You never know how something's gonna come off of someone,
Mhm.
and just showed something for the first time last weekend at Bainbridge, the Museum of Art,
Mhm.
and having to have the conversation about it afterwards was actually really good because a lot of people actually connected with it, and I think that's the thing that when you don't, I guess, put things out or don't talk to people, you don't realize how many people are dealing with something similar, and
Mm.
how your art can either inspire them or help them to seek out help or to talk to someone.
No, that's real as hell. And I'm again someone who I find value in the process. So when it comes to creation, there's so much value in creation. When it comes to creating, it's like there's just this something inside of you and you have to share it. You have to get it out somehow. And sometimes when you're getting it out, when you're sharing that thing, and sometimes you don't even know what it is, right? As you've said,
Yes.
that's when you're finding out what it is as you're sharing it. You're discovering this part of you. You're discovering this version of you sometimes that you didn't even know was there, that you thought you lost a long time ago. Like there's just so much that comes with the creation of art that is this extremely vulnerable place. I
Yes.
have, this gallery coming up mid-March, and I feel vulnerable about it. And so it taps into this space that is so raw and so powerful. And there's a lot of space for growth and for healing in that area. I love that you said how you want to know that people are essentially picking up what you're putting down.
Yes.
Because while I'm going through these processes of creating art, I'm musing about what do I want to share? What is it that is important about whatever this thing is that I want people to understand when they see my art? And to then, step into that space where you're now about to find out whether people understand you or not is an extremely vulnerable space to be as an artist, but to find that they do understand what you're saying, whew, I think that might be the point of art.
It is. It is. And for me, there's certain things that, like, if I was doing photography, I would probably do that on my own. But when making film or projects, that's not something that, in general, you can do on your own.
Hmm.
If you're working with multiple people, whether it's actors, actresses, cinematographers, and editors, and I think the team is extremely important, or your community, whatever you want to call it, your team, your community. And in some of these processes, when you have like doubt, or you experience, I don't know, you may be depressed about something. I don't think this is going to work. You may
Hmm.
and or you just I have people that will literally, specifically the cinematographer and editor, will question me on a lot of things, and just,
Hmm.
what are you, just so I understand, what are you trying to get across here? And that helps me think through things, helps me talk through things with someone that I trust, specifically someone that I trust, and that I know is not going to be like, it's not coming from like a super judgy place, or from a someone that's trying to get their own way, someone
Hmm.
that's literally from an art. What are you trying to get through? What do you want people to hear? And I think that was like, that for this particular project was like the best for me, because
Mm.
because
And
I'm
that is extremely important too.
it is, because I can understand completely what I'm trying to do, but that doesn't mean the script exactly says that, or
Hmm.
when I have to cut things, because I'll be honest, I've never had to cut a project more than I've had to cut this one, and it was 35 minutes, and we needed to cut it to like 22 minutes, and that's a
Mm.
lot to
Ooh.
cut. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way I can cut it. For me, I'm like, oh, this conversation is very important. It's with a therapist. This conversation with the brother is very, oh my god. And having this person to talk to would be like, yes, it's a good conversation, but it's unnecessary and total, the total story. And I think having someone that you actually trust
Yeah.
around, you know what I mean, trust their opinion or value and their input, is very important when it comes to creativity in general.
Yeah, because it's not always easy to receive. Again, like, y'all remember how we said this is coming from inside of us and there's something we got to
Exactly.
share. So when somebody telling you to cut the thing back that you're trying to share, it's like, oh, hold up.
Hold up.
We have to have a certain level of emotional maturity as an artist to be a good artist. Okay, because this is sensitive, vulnerable, passionate things that we're working with, and then meet that with the wrong group of people who aren't giving you criticisms for the right reason, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's not going to be a good situation. So it becomes extremely important whether you're doing solo art, like even as a photographer, I'm a solo photographer, but there's a group of people who help me with that, whether
Hmm.
they're holding the reflector or they're coming with me to scout locations, or, you know what I mean? You have to have people around you that you can trust. I'm also an
Yes.
actor. I'm a part of a production right now. And being an actor and thinking about how I want to deliver a line and having my idea about what that's going to sound like, look like, land like on the audience, and then delivering that line and then receiving feedback on that line, right? Okay.
Hmm. And
There's a moment there too where you have to say, no matter how much you want to convey this thing, is that what the people that you're conveying it to are telling you they're hearing? Is that what they're telling you they're seeing? Are they telling
Yes.
you that they're feeling what you want them to feel? And then how are you as an actor going to adjust yourself, pull out something different to give them what they need, you know? So collaboration is huge, community is huge when it comes to making the art.
And there's a lot of vulnerability that you have to have with that. Especially you talking acting, and there's a lot of vulnerability that you have to have because
Yeah.
you putting yourself out there. You're trying to create this character, and the other thing is, people are trusting me as a director, and to be like, okay, this is what I need from you, and you have to establish a rapport, relationship, something, some sort of trust that you're putting them
Mhm.
in the right situation, that you're not gonna like you're not gonna make them look foolish or anything like that.
Yeah, there's absolutely a level of trust that comes with that because the production that I'm a part of right now, the director is the writer.
Mm.
So, like, they're an artist who's
Yeah.
feeling passionate about their
Yeah.
art, you know, and then here I am wanting to be a vessel of that art, believing in the beauty of like having read this script and just like being like, oh, I get it. I get it. I get what you're trying to convey. And then wanting to have that be affirmed, you know, no notes. Perfect. You know, as unrealistic as that is, like, no, that's not going to happen. But there's a part of you that wants that. There's a part of you that wants to just like understand it so deeply and like just really get it and really know what the character is and what they're doing. And the truth is that's a process, and it's going to take trust, and it's going to take communication, and it's going to take a willingness to be wrong to
Yeah,
get it
of
right.
course. And even myself as the writer, like, there are certain things that I collaborated on, like after the script was done, and said, "Hey, I want you to play this character. Could you read over this and let me know?" And like, okay, I like the character. Can we talk about a few things? Sure, let's talk about it. And one thing I realized, I'm never gonna be someone where like, this is the way it's written. This is all it is. I like to take input from people because if something can be better, I want it to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and come to realize I had some thoughts that I was like, but this may be too much, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it come to find out, one of the actors had similar thoughts to this character, and I was like, well, maybe I
Mm-hmm.
was on the right track if they're having similar thoughts, and we were able to create just more of a backstory, more to the character than was on the script, but something that I was thinking, and just having someone to
Mm-hmm.
just, hey, can I talk to you first? Just having that and being open to that,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of helped me breathe more energy and breathe more life into the character.
I feel that. And I feel like that comes from the ensemble or it comes from the team fostering this environment where it's like, yeah, explore that. Explore whatever that is. Let's see what it would look like if we went a little bit right or if we went a little bit left, knowing that we don't have to commit to either. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just being flexible and allowing creativity to flow. We get into this space where we're able to discover things.
yeah,
And I was just talking about this where it comes to the process of creation. When I get into a place where I'm trusting the flow, trusting that whatever that little thing is that I'm looking for, that inspiration will come to me in the right timing if I just allow flow. And I was trying to create, because one of the things that I do with my business is I create healing related retail items. And I wanted to create something, and I wanted it to come through in this very particular way. And so the spirit was saying, like, it might not come through that way. Like, just be patient. Just be patient and think about what it could be, and know that it's going to come to you. And it took a few months. It took maybe 4 or 5 months, maybe 6. But that idea, that inspiration, that little thing that I was looking for did come. And then getting to production actually came much faster than I expected because I just flowed and didn't think that the process had to be any particular thing. I found that process of creation, you know, looked less like consistent production in this case. I have to allow myself for my creative process to look like different things.
That's really, really good advice because I would say I'm the same way. I tell people all the time, don't try to rush something. Don't if you have this. I know some people have deadlines and things like that, but
Mm-hmm.
like if I want to write a song or something, and if I don't have it right then, I don't force it. I let it sit until some type of inspiration hits me. If I'm writing a script, I don't force myself.
Mm-hmm.
When it's there, it's there. And I feel like that was a good point you made. If you have the time, like I think things will come to you naturally, and inspiration will hit you when it's ready to.
Yeah. And did. And like now I'm like all inspired and excited and I'm like in this flow and all of that because I just said, okay, I'm gonna let it go. The intent is set. I trust that my intention is doing something, in the universe energetically. It's setting some things up for me. And I'm going to trust that the next step, I'll get there when I get there. And, obviously, I'm an entrepreneur. We're creatives. We got multiple projects going on. So I just turned my attention elsewhere for a little bit. And now
Mm-hmm,
here we
mm-hmm.
are, back where the intention led me. So I want to talk more about relating to like the character. I guess in your case, this
Okay.
would be a character that you're creating. For me, it's really characters that I'm acting
Mm-hmm.
as. But when it comes to relating to the character, I also feel like this is a part of my creative process where I end up finding a lot of healing. Whether it's in something that I'm surprised I related to, being able to easily relate to a character, or struggling to find common ground with a character is something
Mm-hmm.
that I find leads me to being able to more easily find common ground with people in community. Things like that. Do you find any healing, any aha moments when it comes to relating to characters that you're creating or engaging with?
I do, and sometimes it's difficult because this previous project I didn't necessarily create the main character, but
Mm,
I connected with the character. I can't say I'm like the character because the character is one of those people who will almost do anything to stay on top, right? And
mm,
but that comes from growing up poor, growing up in the lower class black community,
mm,
and now this person has everything and will do anything no matter who it harms, right? And I chose the character, but I said, okay, you know what? A character like this has to have just so many things going on in their mind, just mentally. And I wanted to, like, what does that look like? Like, what are they actually dealing with? What are they in conflict with? I know there has to be conflict in there for some of the things they do. So I wanted to create a situation where this character has to experience a fall. And what do they do when they experience this fall? Like, I wanted to make it where, okay, this person's also a superhero, but yeah, this person's superhero has money and all this other fame and all this other stuff, but they're just human when it all boils down to just like everyone else. They're going to experience the same feelings, depression, maybe even worse than most people because they feel like they can't talk to anyone. They can't show that they're depressed. They can't show weakness, right? So I wanted
mm,
to basically look at it from that point of view, and specifically because black men, growing up, mental health was like, no, you're weak. If you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about I'm having a mental health issue, I'm having a struggling with mentally, blah blah blah. Like, yo, just walk it off, right? That was I wanted to kind of approach it from that standpoint where no, you can't just walk it off. You need to do something. And I think there are multiple characters I actually related to. In that character and the fact that he has to admit at some point that he needs help.
Mm-hmm.
And he also had a support system in his brother that what I call the heart of the movie, the heart, and the person that's actually convincing him that he needs therapy. And I feel like I related to the brother a lot because the brother was like supportive of you need to do this. There's something wrong with how you're approaching things, how you're approaching life. And so I think there's a little of me in a lot of the characters, not just the character that I was portraying.
No, I think that's huge because a lot of the times when it comes to an ensemble cast or community, some people in community, I'm like, no, that's me. Like, that's me as a person. Other people, I'm like, that is me. That characteristic, the way they did that right there, that's me. Or it's somebody that I'm familiar with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you remind me of my uncle, baby's mama's cousins, nephews, aunt, you know.
Not your cousin's baby mama, nephew's aunt. Yeah,
So, no, but that's real in community. And when you were describing this main character, I'm like, that's the strong friend. That's the one that
yeah.
everybody calls when they have a problem because they know they're going to have some advice for it. And they think that person's life is completely together because they show up a certain way in community and they might not come to other people with their problems. That might be the friend that
Hmm.
isolates when they have an issue and just pops back up when they good again. That
Exactly.
person, we all know that person. Some of us is that
And
person.
you never know. Coming to find out, that person was an addict. That person was medicated
Mm-hmm.
to deal with their problems, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something that was portrayed. And there's one scene. Uh, it's a suicide attempt scene, and the person realized what's happening. And I put that in there because during the pandemic, one of my close friends was like a sister to me, almost committed suicide, and it hit me. It just hit
Mm.
me so hard. That one, I couldn't. We were separated by. I was in Thailand.
Mm.
They were in London, and it's like one of the scariest moments I feel like of my life because everybody was blowing me up. Have you heard from this person? The person. I'm like, no, what's going on? And then you see whatever the last thing they posted, and then now I'm freaking out like everybody else has been freaking out, and no one. And finally, this person luckily uh called me, uh and I was like, I don't know, that really was kind of a. I don't think I've dealt with suicide from that perspective before, where someone was this close,
Mm-hmm.
and you're the one phone call. You become the one phone call, and
Mm.
that was that pretty much that affected me quite deeply. And actually, I need to tell them. I need to actually tell them about that. Put this scene in there because I haven't told them that yet. And but you just never know what people. I knew they were struggling with things, so it's not like that. But you never know just how much people can take, right?
Mm.
Um, before they choose something like that. And I put that in there just because I know that there are people who are dealing with that sort of thing.
And
And
is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's extremely real. Being in community means, you know, we here for each other, life or death. That's really what it boils down to. And I really appreciate what you said about the fact that it really can be anyone. I have been surprised by people in my life who have come to me and said that they were feeling suicidal or that they had, you know, considered you know, ending themselves in the past or things of that nature. You never know. You absolutely never know. And the best thing that we can do is be in community with each other, be honest with each other about our struggles. Because every single person that I have spoken to about that has said that they do feel better knowing that they're not alone in the way that they're feeling. And if them not feeling alone is the only thing that we can do, look, right? I'm standing right up in that space so that they don't feel alone, because hell, I felt alone before. And while I've never had that particular struggle, um, I do have struggles, and I do seek out my community when I have struggles. So I make it clear to my community, come to me when you have struggles as well. It's all we can do in those situations. One of my friends who has told me that a thing that she reminds herself of when she feels her deepest and her most down is that she's the only one who can bring herself up out of that. And I just like to remind my friends of their strength. They are stronger than they know, they are more capable than they know, they are more powerful than they know. And I think that her saying that really solidifies that claim. You know, they are the only ones that can bring themselves out of it, and their community has to trust them and encourage them into that strength and show up in the ways that they're asked to.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, these are conversations that our community needs to have, right? These are the ways in which we open those doors so that people don't feel alone in the way that they feel.
I agree. I agree. And the way that I guess I approach art, it's not something I may not do it every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do try to take time, even if it's just 15 minutes, to just do something, whether it's writing or trying to sketch something out or just listening to music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just helps. It just helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the challenges that we face in life, we also face in our art, right? Being a creative doesn't save you from struggle. You still might face a challenge in these. I mean, I'm not even gonna say might. You will.
I
You
say,
will face challenges as a creative and as an artist, and your community is gonna help you through that, and you're gonna help your community through that
mhm.
too, right? Because it's about giving and taking. Um, and you're going to find out that you're stronger and more capable than you thought too. You know how to work your resources, and you have more resources than you thought. So I found that when it comes to meeting creative challenges and getting to the other side of them, it builds my confidence as a creative. It builds my confidence as an
Mhm.
artist. And I stand 10 toes down as being an artist when I know that I can figure out how to solve this issue. I can thin this paint if I need to. I
Mhm.
can figure out a way to create light if I don't have a reflector, using something else that will reflect light for me, which I was getting ready to use a you know those car reflectors that you put in the window of your car to
Yeah.
just reflect the sun back. I said, wait, I can use that as a reflector if I
Yeah.
need to. You
Mhm.
know what? I am a resilient person. I've faced and overcome challenges in my personal life, and I bring that to my art because that's also who I am. That resilience and that willingness to figure it out, no matter what, to a certain degree, can be good. But have I
Is
gone too far into that? Yes, I
look.
have.
I,
Because it's about balance and making sure it's not coming from trauma; it's coming from
oh
that
yeah.
good place.
I'll tell you a story on the a previous project I did. Now this was rushed, so this project was rushing in the sense of I was trying to make the best use of everyone's time, and it was and we're shooting. I didn't get a lot of the shots I wanted to, like solo shots people, just because we ran over time and all these things. But we left the location, and we're it's like 2 days later, and we're looking. We're like, did we shoot this? Did we? And we're like, I don't think we did. And I'm like, well, we're leaving like LA tomorrow. Like, you're leaving tonight. What if we just swing by this location and see if we can? I don't even have the prop. I have half of the prop I need, and there were these two little hands. And I said, maybe we can just make it work. I don't know how it's going to turn out, and I know the lighting is already not great. I said, let's just go up there. I started messaging the person. Hey, we just wonder if we can get like 5-10 minutes to just shoot something really quickly. And we get there, we get in, and I know no one is gonna notice, or at least no one is mentioned it to me yet. But there's a moment where these two hands are thrown at me in a chair.
Mm-hmm.
We never recorded a close up of the actual hands being like thrown at me. So I was like, okay, so we recorded the close up using one hand, but the way I fumble it, it makes it look like it's two, and it worked out. But this is resort, like you just use what you have in those moments.
Yeah, and just be willing to try.
You
Just
just
be
gotta
willing
try.
to be solutions oriented for yourself. I was another thing I was just talking to someone about when it comes to overcoming challenges as a creative is sometimes you can get in your own way. Sometimes you're ready to just wrap it up and decide that you couldn't do it before you've even explored any solutions.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, that's the problem. Ah, well, hell. Now I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's like, well, hold on. You haven't even thought about it yet. Like, definitely respond and react and have a
Yeah,
emotion if that's what you need to do. But realize that's not the end. That's just the first step. Have your emotion. Okay,
hmm
now I have my
hmm
emotion. Now let's brainstorm. What solution? Because we're capable. And
true.
trusting ourselves to be capable and acting like we are capable means that we're at least going to give ourselves the opportunity to see if we can fix this. And and just like that, let's swing by. Let's just see. Let's give ourselves the opportunity to win. And did.
I agree. What you just said right there, like not completely shutting down, because I did a photo shoot with someone years ago, and I had a specific. This was kind of a true collaboration where I had ideas and they had ideas, and I said, okay, I had one specific idea. I said I want to recreate this scene. It was from The Dark Knight in Joker when he's like, when the Joker is like riding in the police car. Now I had my car, which doesn't have police lights, does not look like, and we're not in the city. So I shot it, and then I go to edit it in Photoshop, and the photo that was the best photo to use, the lighting was horrendous. It was in the photo with the good lighting. I just couldn't make it work editing wise.
Mm.
So I just put it down. This has never taken me this long. And like 8 months later, like I had already done that whole set and given it to the person, but I said, I don't know what it was, but something that day, I guess I got inspiration, and I said, let me pull
Mhm.
this up, and I went to the picture that I thought was really trash. I thought it was trash. I thought the lighting was trash. Turns out it was a perfect picture, and I
Yeah.
edited the whole scene in Photoshop, and it came out perfectly. And I was like, okay, that I should not be shutting down my own thing. Like, what if I deleted that image? Like,
Yeah.
like you truly never know. You truly never know uh what you're capable of.
Yeah, and I love that
Yeah.
you rounded back to it because that showed it was really for you and you showed yourself something. And that's literally all that matters. Literally, you knowing is literally all that matters. Because now that you know. And
Yeah.
that's it. It's all about you, really. Because somebody else knowing it doesn't effectively do anything for your life. If
Oh yeah.
somebody hands us exactly what we want, but we're not able to see it, value it, deal with it, what is that going to do for
And
us?
true. And no one else is gonna know. So the thing about the journey, no one they can see that photo, like, oh, that's a great edit. They can think I took that photo yesterday. They don't know how long it took for me
Hmm.
from snapping that picture to actually going to a full edit I appreciate that because I know just
Hmm.
how long, just where I thought I failed previously, and I know exactly what it meant to me. No one, oh, that's a great photo edit. That's what someone else will see out of it. But for me, it was, well, I set a goal, didn't achieve the goal at first, took some time, went back to it, achieved the goal at a much later time, and surprised myself and the artist that was in it, as far as, because they gave up on it. I would think
Yeah.
because it's been like 8 months.
Damn, that's the power of like not sleeping on yourself and like taking yourself seriously. Because I, like, as a photographer, I've been taking pictures, like, even as a kid when I was, young and poor and I have no type of camera. I was like this head ass, like,
Yeah.
oh, the picture's right there. Like, click, click with my fingers. And I just started taking myself seriously as a photographer when I was in college. Still didn't have no type of camera, just taking photos on my phone that I loved of nature. And I remember I did a whole photography project on my phone. And so I've always been a cell phone photographer. Like, that's now a thing that's
Yeah.
respected, but when I was doing it, it was not respected. So, um, now in the future, still a cell phone photographer for now, but I'm doing stuff like I have, this gallery that I'm a part of, that's coming up in March, and well, it'll have already happened by the time this airs, but so now I'm, declared as a photographer, and I'm standing in it and I'm honoring it and I'm taking myself seriously. And I'm going back and looking at photos that I've taken over the years, just, in my cute little, oh, I'm going to be a photographer one day era. And I'm like, these pictures were so good. I'm like, the pictures were so good. And it was just me not honoring it, not taking
Right.
myself seriously. I'm like, girl, you've been a photographer for about 3 years now, at least, where you've been taking good pictures. So I'm like, I definitely saw the line where I was like, okay, I was, finding my way for a few years there, but I found my way at that point, and all the pictures since then. I'm like, wow, it's really, it's really about how seriously you take
And
yourself.
and with that, I would say, as far as being an artist and from a mental health approach, I would say just take out for people, take out the aspiring. You are an artist. You're painting.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the act. You don't have to be an aspiring. You're actually doing it. You're a filmmaker. You're a photographer. You're not an aspiring photographer. You're a photographer. You have photos. That means you're a photographer. You're a writer. You have things that if you're writing. You're a writer. I think that does positive things for your mental as well. It's just like, no, I am this. It's not aspiring to do this. I'm actually doing this.
Yes, there's this saying that I always see where it is like, artist, just make the thing. Make the thing and then make the thing good. Or they say this in the podcasting community too. Obviously, I'm a podcaster as well. But they're like, just start the podcast and then make it
Mm,
good. But if you're just wanting it to be perfect before you start it, you're never going to start it. You're always going to be perfecting the
that's
thing and getting ready to
that's
launch it. And, oh, it's almost ready. Nah, baby, put out the bad thing. Make the bad thing
100% sure.
good.
That affected my mental health from a. Whew, I produced a few projects in the past. Two feature movies in I think 2019. I think 2018 and 2019. Two feature movies. They were
Mm-hmm.
both being edited, and during COVID, they got kind of shelved.
Mm-hmm.
And on one of them was, I have a rough cut of it and everything. And like 2 years ago, the director was basically like, I don't want to put these out. And I'm like, what we did, we flew to Mexico and shot this. This is a black production. We flew to Mexico independently and
Wow.
made this movie, and we actually worked with. Mexican people and included their culture and all this stuff. And it's like, I can do better. And I was like, it seems like it's very, from my perspective, I felt like that was very selfish. So you had a lot of people that worked on this and want to see the fruits of, working for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks in Mexico on a
Mhm.
project. And it's not even, it's not bad. They just think they can do better at this point. And I'm like, so when is good not good? It's like, what is good not good? And that really, those two movies getting shelved with no one actually ever seeing them really affected me, because it's like, well, am I a producer? I'm not coming out with anything. And I would definitely say, put it out. I don't care if it's YouTube, Vimeo, whatever it is. Get it out there. There is a film festival that would accept it for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely agree with that. Put it out, because then you can
Yeah.
see your growth. You
Yes,
can see your
that's
growth.
the part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be vulnerable. This is the part that I always think about too, because I've been a creative and an artist my entire life. There was never, I'm so sorry. There was never a time that I wasn't performing and doing art. No, I just remembered while I was telling you I've been performing my whole life. I remembered this meme that I came across. It was like, "Oh, if you used to perform for your family when you were a kid," and I was like, "I used to do that." They're like, "You have mental health issues now," and I was like, "Why y'all had to set me up for that?"
Woo.
But yes, I've been performing, and I did used to perform for my family when I was a kid, and my whole life. And so when you're doing this your whole life, you can start to feel like this is not a thing. This is just who I
Mm-hmm.
am. This is just the little thing that I like to do. But no, validate that.
Mm-hmm.
See that as a sign that this is something that you embody. This is
Yeah.
something that you're meant to do. And especially if it's making you happy and giving you joy, pursue it. Now, I do definitely get caught up in the if I'm not producing, then what I'm doing, like, am I the thing if I'm not producing in that area? So I get what you're saying, but I would also urge people to not fall into that too much. Like, of course, you're still the thing, even if you're taking a break from the thing. Of course, you're still the thing, even if you don't feel inspiration in that area right now. You know what I mean? You're still that thing. That's still you. You can still claim that.
Yeah. And just to give an example of like what putting stuff out, like, would we have Abbott Elementary today if Quinta Brunson wasn't posting videos so many years ago? You seen
Exactly.
Quinta go from that to a full-fledged successful, one of the most successful TV shows. And that just comes
And
from
see,
putting
like,
your
we
work out
care
there.
more as viewers because we saw that.
Exactly. That's it. It's like we were there with you. We it's like we've been a part of that growth. Yeah.
Yeah, ever since he had money. Like, like, we love to see it, and that is the truth. You have to see the value in what you're doing today. I know when I first started this podcast, it was at the height of the podcast witch hunts. They was coming for everybody's podcasting equipment. Okay, I had to hide my podcasting equipment underneath the floorboards. And no, but they was really not about podcasts. The reputation for podcasts was terrible when I first started doing podcasting.
Hmm.
It wasn't until I started doing podcasting that I saw something different, that I saw that there was a small but growing now community of people who are doing healing podcasts bringing the Black community together,
Hmm.
podcasts highlighting communities or businesses that are for our community and trying to foster change in our community. We out here, but
Yeah.
if you just decide that, nah, it's not happening, that's not there, you've already shut it down. You've already decided that that's not going to happen for you.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, like put that movie out. Put both of them out.
Put it out. I oh no, I'm the well. I can't put one of them out because I don't have the cut of one of them, but the other I do have a rough cut of. I just need to throw some drone shots in there, but other than that, yeah, I'm like right there. Just it doesn't even matter. Like just people saying, "Oh, that was good. Why didn't you do? Why don't you send that message there?"
Yeah, I mean, good things come from being vulnerable. Good things have really come from me from being vulnerable through this podcast and in
And
other places in my life where I'm being vulnerable. All right, I want to talk specifically about highlighting therapy to the Black community
mm,
as something that you are doing with your work and something that I do with this podcast and just other things. I'm definitely a therapy girly. Like, there's probably not a podcast episode where I don't bring up something related to therapy,
mm-hmm,
but you got to talk about it, people. Like, I am always going to promote therapy to the Black community. I know that therapy is definitely something that the Black community is onto as a part of this wave of healing that's
mm-hmm.
coming. You have Therapy Fund Foundation. You have the Loveland Therapy Fund, which are both Black led therapy funds for Black people to receive therapy. In a lot of cases from Black therapists. How has that and Black therapy, Black mental health influenced the work that you're doing?
I think a lot, and all of the therapists that I've seen have been black, by choice,
Mm-hmm.
just because that's my preference. And I think being able to show it in a positive light, being able to show it as something that's helpful, and I try to tell people though that like don't be upset or don't be depressed if you may not find the therapist for you on the first go. Like it takes
Mm.
time. Like you have to try different people out and figure out who works for you. It's not just oh, I tried it and it doesn't work. And that was kind of what I wanted to show with the A Train movie, because it was like he's kind of rejecting it, and oh, it doesn't work. Goes to his brother and say, hey, this is not working for me. It's like you're not trying. And I think that's what a lot of people do on the first time. They're not really wanting it to work. They just want to be able to say I tried.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, no, no. Let me just address that part of it. Okay, I'm gonna go, and it doesn't work because you're not really trying. You really have to be vulnerable. You really have to want to get help, right? And talk
Yeah, that's
about
real.
your feelings. And so that's kind of the things that I want to show, and then to show like the positive, the change afterwards. In this movie, Captain Zero, I really love this because it's a teenager, and a lot of the story takes place through their therapy sessions. They're retelling the events of things. So to actually have a black show where you see a black teenager, yeah, he's doing extraordinary things, but he's telling all this to his therapist while she's
Mm.
giving him advice and calling him out on BS, as well. Like sometimes, there was like, no, that's BS. I call BS, right? What you're telling me right now. And I think showing those type of things just to you know, make it the norm. Make it the norm. It should be normal to talk about things with people and express yourself and feelings. And yeah, that's my overall goal. And especially with this, because this is currently, it's been a struggle. It's been ups and highs and lows since I've joined this production, and recently hit a hit a really low, and then we've gone back up. So when I tell people to just keep pushing, this is one of those things. So uh our one of our major funders just restructured their company. Basically, we're 2/3 of the way finished for our short. They basically halted all funding in January. And we take a minute as a we all take a minute collectively.
Mhm.
We've been down all these different roads. We know what we gonna do. We gonna raise this money regardless. We can't wait for them. We gonna raise this money, which we've done that since then. Like so, but there's gonna be ebbs and flows. It's just what it is when you're an artist and trying to create things. But
Ooh, I'm glad that you brought that funding part up because it's always extremely important, and I think that's what it boils down to is we got to be willing to fundraise to make it happen. We have to be willing to do that because if we're not, then everything could shut down if the person that we're getting the money from has anything
mhm,
happen, restructures, changes their mind, anything, you know
yeah,
what I mean? And so I think that's huge for creatives to have that realistic expectation there where you might have to also learn how to fundraise
hmm
and what that looks like because it doesn't just look like this, it looks a lot of the time like relationship building too.
it is.
So
It
just get
is.
into that as a creative, get used to building relationships, showing up for people, helping people, and then learn what it looks like to ask for people to help you
hmm
too because you do want to go
Yeah,
about it the right
you
way.
don't want
I
to be on your own and feel
Yeah.
like it. And I think this time around, I think most of the team felt great about it. But I think like before, like a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago, is when I realized just how much support we had.
Mm,
And now, so this time around, I was like, don't worry about it. We're not worried about it. We're gonna get this because we know we have support. We have a community that wants to see this to be successful. And I think that you
yes.
never know how many people are actually rooting for you until you actually try to do these things and try to fundraise and try to like you'll be surprised.
Yeah, and I was also surprised to find that the longer people see you doing things, the more excited about it they are.
Hmm
Because like after the first season of my podcast, people were like, "Oh, cool, you're starting a podcast." And then I announced the second season, they're like, "Nice, you're still doing this." And then I announced the third season, they're like, "Dang, Selena, go ahead." I was like, "Really?" you know?
And you don't know who's paying attention at that, at certain times. That's also you don't know
Mhm.
because people don't always say things to you.
Mhm.
And then one day they'll just like, "Hey man, that was," you're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were watching. I didn't know you." Yeah, cool. Like you there are generally more people supporting you than you know. Like they're not always vocal about it, but they're there.
Absolutely that. Dang. Is there anything about like this process of being a creative or healing from creativity that we haven't said that needs to be said? I feel like we touched on a lot.
Mm. I would say extremely forward to find your community, um, be a part of a community in some sort of way. Like I was new to Seattle, and uh, I was very fortunate to pretty quickly link up with some other creatives. Um, yeah, I was a shout out to Cultivate Collective. Like
Yeah.
honestly, a lot of them have been like just instrumental to help me with this inspirational or just having me take part in events when at time it was like I'm not one of you. Like no, you're one of us. Don't
Yeah.
forget that. It's just like okay, like and I think that once you find that like it gets easier because they're dealing with the same struggles that you're dealing with.
Yes. And just know that you'll find it too. Because I was seeking a collective. I literally tried to start a collective with my friends a year before I was randomly at a Sing Seattle event. So y'all, like free promo, y'all. Check out Sing Seattle. I'm not even gonna
Yeah,
lie, I'm not gonna hold you. If you black in the Seattle area, get into it. Met Fancy at one of their events, and then boom, like same thing. I wasn't even really trying to like claim being an artist at that time. Like I know now, like girl, you're being so ridiculous. But I wasn't dancing at the time, which was my main form of art that I
Okay.
was participating in. And so I just felt like, oh, if I'm not doing, then am I the thing? And like obviously, yes, you are the thing. But that's just where I was at that time. And I instantly walked into the space and also felt so embraced and put on. And so seek and you shall find, y'all. If you are looking for art community, if you're looking for creative community, know that it's going to find you. And it might not find
Hmm.
you immediately when you want it, but it's out there and it's coming your way.
And speaking of sync, I gave them a huge shout out at their Christmas event they had. I believe we met originally at a sync event.
And did.
Yeah, yeah,
I met you about a year ago at a
yeah,
Six Seattle event. So
yeah.
yes, like it's really about the people who show up in spaces for community are gonna be on a different wavelength. Like the Seattle Freeze doesn't really exist in those spaces because we all came there for community, to be a part of community, to foster community, to find our community. It's a beautiful thing. Like, speaking of community, Chris, where can people find you in community to support you, to work with you, and put you on?
Instagram, I'm at Cosplays by Shinobi or Shots by Shinobi. It's my photography page. Um, I'm on Blue Sky at Chris Carthern, and I'm on TikTok as well at Cosplays by Shinobi.
Okay, come on, Blue Sky, though. You say you're making the migration.
Oh, I
I'm
made
have
that
to.
quick. I made that quick. Soon as I don't. What is Twitter? You know, whatever they call it these days.
All right, I'm gonna have to find you over on Blue Sky because I'm over there too. I just don't remember my name, but it's probably Hot Girls Healing Podcast because that's where you'll find me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm over there too. Um, But y'all, like the community is here. Amazing things are happening. There's a lot of alignment. There's a lot of just people meeting the right people at the right time happening right now. I'm extremely grateful to be where I am right now, knowing the people that I know. And I'm grateful to you as well, Chris. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode. Thank you so much for being willing to be in community with me.
Thank you for having me. Oh, can I shout out one more person?
Of
Uh,
course.
if you're a filmmaker in Seattle, or you want to make films, and you want to see your project on the big screen, uh, they have the Scope screenings, which Les Scope runs, and I'm telling you, like, it doesn't have to be a full film, like 5 minute film. You can do this on your phone if you want to just show your work. You can create on your phone music videos. They will show them at scope screening. So if you ever want to or if you just want to come and link up with people, I've met so many other creatives at these types of events. Just look up, Sync Seattle events, go to scope screenings, all these different events, and these are for people of color. So
Yes.
please show up to these things.
I was gonna say it's a small black world because I've also been to a scope screening event and those are lit as hell. Um, Good people, black and brown artists. I know it's like the main person I think is a black guy. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
and it's just oh my gosh, like these creative spaces, especially black creative spaces, because we are creators, like inherently. I truly believe it. If you are a black person, there's something that you're meant to be doing. And so explore and figure out what that is for you because it's for you. I want to leave it there because we've gotten a lot of good things out here. We shouted out some amazing black businesses for y'all to seriously check out and get involved and see you there, high key. Um, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful and I am just here to see how good my life can get and how good your life can get and how good our lives can get. So this has been another episode of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. I'm your host, Salenna Green, and I will see you next time. Bye. And it goes on and on. And when it all goes wrong, we'll celebrate with song. Nothing's gonna hold us down. And it goes on and on. The healing takes so long. But we are proud and strong. Nothing's gonna hold us down. Hot girls healing. Ha ha, hot girls healing.